Hello, this is Oleg from Puzi Media, and I'm gonna go over how you can beat the TikTok shadow ban. What it is, what it looks like, and you're gonna get a shadow ban checklist so you can follow those to break out of TikTok prison. So I work with content creators every single day, and we've beaten the shadow ban various times, so we know what things to look out for. Okay, so what is the TikTok shadow ban? So this is when your views and engagement can drop dramatically, okay? And the reason why you see VPN here is because one of the reasons why I think that this happens is one of the biggest reasons is the IP address that the content is being posted from, okay? But I'll go more into that in a bit, okay? So the shadow ban can get solved, but I've also seen situations where I've encountered this myself where it just lasted forever. So you have to do certain things quickly to make sure you're posting correctly, okay? So that way you don't dig yourself deeper into a shadow ban hole, okay, right? So you don't want to get into that, right? Because if you have a huge amount of followers, like when I did, I had 20,000 around followers on my TikTok account. It got shadow banned forever, so I had to restart completely from scratch. Okay, so let's prevent that from happening to you. All right. So what does it look like? So essentially, it looks like this. You're getting pretty much zero views per video. Okay, maybe you went from thousands of views to hundreds of views, right? Maybe you went from tens of thousands of views to hundreds of views, maybe even less than 100 views, right? So for this particular this account right here, when we started the account, they were getting roughly few hundreds of views, and then it went down to less than 10, less than 100 views, right? Less than 10. Like, so this can happen, right? So you'll see you're not getting any saves or shares, no likes, and you're getting 0% for you page traffic, right? So you'll see that your views might be coming from your personal profile, might be coming from a sound, people that are already following you, or etc., right? But for you page is not showing. So this is a clear indicator. This is one of the first things you need to look at when it comes to dissecting the situation, right? So so if you just have a lot of views and you see it's just abnormally downtrending, then you might have an issue on your hands. You might have a shadow ban issue going on. Okay, so we have to first go into analysis mode. Okay, so like I said, are we reaching the For You page? That's the first thing you really need to be looking at. If you are reaching the For You page, then chances are you may be okay. But maybe there are still a few things that you can potentially do to increase your chances of securing, just continuing to grow, right? So we're checking this first. If we're reaching the For You page, if we're not, then we know we have a serious issue that we need to look into other things that might be preventing us from getting shown on the For You page, right? So if the next thing to look at is that for a particular account that I managed before was we were posting actually from Pakistan using a VPN, right? So that was one thing I actually analyzed, and I also analyzed, are we posting from the desktop or phone, right? So if we're posting across the seas, is also posting via desktop or phone. And also another thing that you want to look at is are you using scheduler apps actually? Like that's one thing that you really need to look at too. Are you posting from third-party apps like Buffer or Hootsuite? If you are, then chances are you probably should stop. Okay, there's just been too many people who have encountered a suppression of reach when they're posting from a third party, right? So using a VPN is basically like it's like a third party, right? So desktop or phone, are you doing that? And you need to analyze that. I've also looked at, okay, so for one of the particular accounts, I was looking at the profile photo. What was the bio like? Okay, so If you have a profile photo that is a little bit blurry, maybe it's not the crispest. Yeah, if it's not the crispiest, the most high definition, that might be another thing that you need to change, right? Because a lot of people don't actually look at that, but that the TikTok algorithm can detect, like, okay, this might be a bot, right? You don't want to look like a bot at all, right? So if your bio maybe just looks like maybe a little too generic, right? Then maybe look into improving that as well. And is the content even relevant, right? So that's another thing to look at. Before in the past, when I was when I was first starting to go viral, and right before I encountered the shadow ban, one of the things that I was doing was the content that I was making. The new content that I was making was kind of not well optimized for a high watch time, right? So my content was really drawn out. Like I was making a lot of content that was pretty short, 15 seconds, 20 seconds. And then I started really experimenting with longer videos, like up to a minute, but the videos just weren't really that captivating to keep that attention. So my watch time dropped dramatically. That was one thing that I think really made my first account, Obvious, on TikTok get completely shadow banned for life. But yeah, you also want to look at, what kind of content are you making regularly, and not sway from that too much, right? Because if you're making content around business, and then like all of a sudden you start just making content about you, like just shopping, and not even shopping, just like maybe you post a picture of a fruit or something, like you know what I mean? Like I'm trying to give you an example, but like keeping the content pretty consistent. If you're doing a lot of talking head videos where the video is primarily a person, you talking to the camera, and then all of a sudden you start posting like cartoons videos on your account, like, and maybe the topic is a little bit different, then that could potentially make have a negative impact on your account as well. So you want to keep it as similar as possible. Yeah, and one of the instances that for the one account where we were posting actually from Pakistan, we stopped doing that. We don't post overseas. All posting is in the U.S., right? But one thing that we were looking at was, some of the content that we started also posting was just did not have as much potential to go viral, and so we knew like that watch time wasn't going to be as high, right? It just wasn't as engaging, so we knew that was going to be a problem too. Okay, so the revised tactics. So what did we do, okay, to actually break out of the shadow ban? So for the particular account that I was talking about earlier, not mine, Obvious, but what we did was we changed the profile picture because they had a logo that was somewhat I don't think it was the highest definition, but we changed it from a logo to the actual person, the founder of the company. That way, and it was like a high definition photo of the founder, right? So this way, our intention was to signal to the algorithm that we're a real person, we're not a bot. Because a lot of bots, they'll have like some kind of graphics as the image for their account, right? And that just it's easier. It looks like a bot, right? So the bio, we also updated the bio, just made it a little bit more intriguing, a little bit more interesting. So it was that also what the intention was to also signal that we're real people. We're not just gonna keep the bio as it was. Just doing everything we can to position ourselves as real people. That was ultimately the goal, right? So we changed the profile and the bio. And what we also did was we started posting from a phone in the United States. Okay, so that is super, super, super important. As I mentioned in the very beginning, with the image of the country and VPN over it, that is one of the biggest things I think is also what can make accounts get shadow banned, right? So if you're posting, if you have someone that is posting for you in another country, right? That could be bad. That can make you get shadow banned. Okay. If you, it's also another thing that you need to look at is the IP address, right? So you want to limit the amount of changes in the IP that you're posting from, right? So even if you're posting in the United States, right? If you're posting in the United States from one side of the country, maybe you're on the East Coast, and then you have someone that's posting on the West Coast, and then you're logging in from East. You're logging in on the East Coast, they're logging in on the West Coast. Maybe you even have someone else that's doing some stuff on your account, like maybe engaging with people, and then they're in another place, and then the TikTok sees you're just have all these different logins happening. That can signal also that you are a bot, right? That you should get shadow banned because you're likely trying to do something mischievous, right? So you don't just try to not do anything mischievous as possible, especially on TikTok. Posted some more relevant content. So I knew certain piece of content that the client really wanted was not going to necessarily, be as viral. So we started posting content that has already shown, that was already shown to perform well. Okay, so that's another thing that you can do is you can post new content or repost content that has already been shown to work really well. So in the instance of you testing out different content and then you experience a big suppression like consistently across many videos, and maybe you're not even on the For You page, then you got to go back to what was working. Go post the content that was performing well. Okay, so that's another thing that you really need to do. Okay, and if you if you strayed from the bread and butter of your type of content that you've been posting, go back to that. Okay, go back to what was working. Okay, so posting from the phone is also really important. We've noticed across different accounts too. It's like sometimes if you're posting from the desktop on TikTok, that can also show that maybe you're doing something mischievous. Like it sucks, right? It sucks because it's easy on the TikTok desktop app. You can schedule out content. So if you're like scheduling out TikTok content on your desktop, and that's something that you're doing, try to, for a limited time, just stop doing that and post from the phone. Okay, so that might be one other thing that can potentially be signaling to the TikTok algorithm that you're doing something mischievous. So you need to prevent that as well. Okay, so yeah, breakthrough results. What happened was, for the one account that we were managing, we were getting videos. They had roughly like this much, and then it went down to like 1 to 10 views, right? No likes, nothing. Very bad, right? So it went down, and then as soon as we made all those changes that I just talked about, as soon as we did those changes, the next video started getting hundreds of views and actually getting likes and some saves, right? And every video after that was finally on the uptrend. So it worked immediately by implementing all of those things that I just talked about. Okay, so it really works. And the keys to success, so what I really think is genuine mobile posting, also from the United States, because that's where our client's from. So we want to keep posting from where the account the client was from. And also doing some active profile management, so making sure that the profile photo, the bio is updated, just to signal, that we're not a bot. We're making steps to show that we're human, and then just making a little bit more content that we've already seen that worked really well. But also another thing that I didn't touch on before is the one thing that we did was we also made sure to take this time to once we've encountered the shadow ban, was to interact with others' content before posting, right? So that's another thing that TikTok looks at, right? It's like, are you just going on TikTok to just post and then you're out? Because I've definitely been guilty of that. So your whoever is posting for you, if it's you, just make sure to interact with some content before posting, or even after posting is good as well, but before posting is definitely good, because you're just kind of like warming up your account, if that makes sense. You're warming up your account, so that way it's showing that you're a human, you're interacting with people, you view the videos, try to view the videos all the way, hit that like button, maybe add some comments, do those things. If you want to share the video. If you want to save the video. But take some of these actions to just really show that you're a real human. You're not a bot. And so yeah, make sure to just regularly interact with other people's content. Okay, so that's another thing that I didn't mention before, but I do think is actually critical to making sure that you don't get shadow banned, right? So yeah, so these are all the different things that are pretty much things that you need to look at when you're potentially shadow banned, right? This is your checklist. So go over these things and make sure that you're doing these things, so that way you can get out of the TikTok prison. Okay, so that's about it. That's all I have for you. If you are shadow banned, just know that you can make a comeback. You can make a comeback. Okay, persistence pays off. So give it up to 12 posts to actually make a judgment. Okay, I've seen many that have had shadow ban, but they got out of it by just continuing to post, right? But if you are continuing to post, make sure you implement those things that I talked about before as you publish your next post, right? Give it up to 12 posts and see, are you getting the For You page? Is the For You page percentage increasing? Are your views increasing? If it's not, then you may have to make a new account. Then you might just have to make a new account, and then on the new account you'll have to make sure you're implementing all those things too, because you have to be very careful on TikTok. TikTok seems to be one of the strictest platforms when it comes to like bot detection, right? And shadow bans, right? Seems like one of the most that you just need to be careful on. Okay, so shadow bans can be overcome, right? So as long as you implement those things, I have hope that you can make it out. Thanks so much for watching. Like and subscribe for more content like this. And also let me know what was one thing that I mentioned on this checklist that you might not have thought about or might not have realized that could be impacting your account, right? Your shadow ban. Let me know, and I'll see you next time. All right. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching.